Quad 6.6. Alright, a little different video here. I'm talking about whoops. I don't fly to whoops a ton, but I've been on a little kick lately, and I figured I just did a bunch of back-to-back flying with a couple different motors, several different props, and figured I'd give you my impressions. So the motors that I've tried, the ones I have on here, these are the newest ones I have. These are the HGLRC Aelous motors, and I've got the 25,000 kV variant, so this is the 0802. It's nice because it's a unibell. It does not have, though, the little PCB board, so if you break a wire up close, the motor's toast. Unlike some of the other motors that it's become pretty common to have this little PCB board on the bottom where you can change motor wires and things like that pretty easily. So the other motors, obviously, that I've been flying, so these are the NewBeeDrone Golds. These are 18,000 kV motor. These are the original version with the two-piece bell, not their newer onesies. The other motor I've also flown is their 0703 motor. It's a little lower kV, it's 16,420 kV, and it's an 0703 motor. I wanted to get the Happy model, especially the new one-piece bell that they have, and I wanted to try those 25,000 kV because I understand that those are probably the most powerful of the bunch, and they're also lighter. I hear more fragile too, but I wanted to give them a try, but I just couldn't find them, so this is what I have for now. This is what I tried flying. Prop-wise, did several props. So I've been flying these NewBeeDrone ASI quad blades for quite a bit, and I really like them a lot. I've also flown the tri-blade version. I've also gotten the NewBeeDrone 2, the bi-blade. So this is the Venom, the V2 prop. Another bi-blade that just came out that I was pretty excited to try is this Gemfan. So this is their 31mm bi-blade. And so I've flown basically these props on these different motors. And so going through it, I'll start with the motors. I think that's a little easier, simpler to talk about. So these HGLRC Aelous motors, with the 25,000 kV, they're pretty fast. They're pretty nice. Got a decent amount of power. What's kind of interesting compared to the NewBeeDrone is I did have to turn up the startup power on them. They weren't spinning up at the stock settings on these ESCs. They are a nice one-piece bell, and they don't feel like they have as much torque as the NewBeeDrone motor. So this NewBeeDrone motor just feels like it controls the prop a little bit better. But at 18,000 kV, it just doesn't have the same kind of top end, doesn't have the same punch as the 25,000 kV motor. Now this 0703, it's a real nice motor, I think, especially for like beginners, because it's got a real smooth power band with the taller stator at 3mm. It really makes the throttle control easier, and so it's actually the easiest motor to fly. In terms of the props, you start getting a little bit of interaction between the motors, and some they just interact a little bit differently. My favorite combinations are the NewBeeDrone motor with the ASI quad blade prop. So normally we think about the quad blade as being the least efficient. What's kind of interesting about it is that it's actually, this ASI quad blade is more efficient than the Venom bi-blade. Normally the bi-blade is going to be quite a bit more efficient. But the bi-blade, this motor just really controls this bi-blade really well, and the sort of like fine detail, last-minute correction kind of stuff. I love the flight quality out of these Venom V2s. This motor combination, though, this just doesn't have quite enough kV. This prop doesn't kind of pull as hard, I think, or something. I don't know. But you just need a little bit more kV. So I'd really like to try this prop with the plaid version of the NewBeeDrone motor. So it's a slightly high kV. I think it's like 20,000 kV. But flight time would definitely kind of be down a little bit. These Aelous, they seem to do a little bit better with these Gemfans. They also fly really well on the quad blades too. They do not fly that great with these Venoms. I don't fully understand why, but they just don't seem to get along very well. It's kind of interesting. Not sure why. Of all the motors I flew, it's actually the tri-blade version of the ASI that has the best efficiency for me. They're about 10-20 seconds more flight time than either of these props. These props, I'm getting basically the same flight time out of the Gemfan and the quad blade, which is really interesting. This is a bi-blade and a quad blade, and I get basically the same flight time. The worst flight time I'm getting is out of the Venom. In terms of the motor's flight time, the best flight time I get is out of the 0802 18,000 kV motor. The worst flight time is the 0703, and in the middle is the Aelous 25,000 kV 0802. So I like this. I like this combination here. I like the way it flies. I would like to try the Platinums or the Plaid NewBeeDrones with the Venom props. I also want to get the Happy models. I want to get their, those Unibells are a little bit lighter, and the 25,000 kV Happy models are supposedly the most powerful motor, and I'd like to give those a try. Sadly, one of the things is I think this board is just not that great. So this is that flyway board. I tried it on the 3-inch builds, the 1S builds, and I was definitely having less power and less flight time than with the TuneRC boards. And I figured maybe I'm just kind of trying to ask too much of it, push too much current. But now that I've got it on a Whoop, it does okay, but I feel like I'm not getting the same flight time that I'm seeing some other people are getting with like similar kind of builds. Maybe I'm a little heavy. Maybe, if I ditch the Goober canopy, get some lighter motor, I don't know, maybe, but I feel like I should be getting a little bit extra flight time out of it, and I'm not. So all these props though, one of the big thing, I should have started with this. These props are all really well balanced, and that's my number one thing, is that these all are really well balanced, and they're all smooth, they're all nice to fly, pleasant to fly. They're not oscillating and shaking like the older Gemfans, and I assume the HQ props probably do. HQ is just kind of known for they just don't balance their props very well, unfortunately. But from that regard, I think with any of these props, you can't really go wrong. If you're really sort of like into the quality of the flight, I would really suggest trying the NewBeeDrone with the Venom prop. But with the NewBeeDrone motor, I'd probably go with the Plaid with the higher KV. Just expect not the greatest flight time. And then if you want the all-around, both these ASI quad blades and these Gemfan biblades are both really nice all-around props. They're well balanced, and they've got a nice kind of like ratio of thrust to efficiency, and they're kind of easy to handle. They're not too twitchy with the power coming in and out of the power band, things like that. So that's what I have right now. Not the deepest dive on these, but those are my impressions, and maybe that kind of helps you kind of understand some of this stuff, or think about trying different props and dialing your own setup in. All right, till next time, cheers.